Good afternoon, students. This is Dr. Shekanvar from Department of Science and Humanities. Welcome to another session of electrochemistry. In this session, we will be talking about the potentiometric titrations. What is this potentiometric titration and how this potentiometric titration can be used to calculate the electrode potential of a unknown analyte. All these things we are going to understand in this session. Following are the contents, we will be talking about the introduction and followed by the types of potentiometric titrations and advantages of the potentiometric titrations. What is the aim of this session? From this session we can find out the concentration of analyte using this potentiometer, and at the end of the day we will be calculating the endpoint from the graph. We will be calculating the equivalence point where we will have the cell potential E on the y-axis and the volume of the titrant on the x-axis. And coming to the first part, that is the introduction about the potentiometric titration. Before I start this potentiometric titration, let us try to understand what we have learned from the previous sessions, the simple titrations of volumetric as well as pH metric titrations. So in an ideal titration, we have seen that we are going to use a titrant. A titrant is a solution of known concentration, that means whose molarity is known, and it has to be titrated with another solution called as analyte. And here the analyte is a solution whose concentration has to be determined or whose concentration is unknown to us. For any volumetric titration or pH metric titration, we are going to take the titrant in the burette and the analyte in the beaker or the conical flask. The same way, for our potentiometric titration, we are going to use the analyte whose concentration is to be determined or whose concentration is unknown to us in a beaker or in a conical flask, and the known concentration we are going to take it in the burette. And with this we can find out the equivalence point. What is meant by equivalence point? It is a point at which the titrant amount actually is just equal to the neutralized to the analyte solution. A point where the amount of titrant is equivalent to the amount of the analyte, we call it as the equivalent point. We should remember that we are not going to use the term endpoint, because endpoint is to be used whenever we try to go for volumetric titration, where we use a indicator. Here in the potentiometric titration, we should be very careful that we are not going to use any indicator. And one should also know that the endpoint is slightly greater than the equivalence point, because it is the point where we are adding one drop of excess of the indicator to get the clear-cut indication color. And it is the equivalence point where the moles of base is equal to the moles of acid if we talk about the acid-base titration, whether it is a pH metric titration, whether it is a volumetric titration, or whether it is a potentiometric titration. With this introduction of titrant, analyte and equivalence point, let us try to understand the potentiometric titration. There are some actually disadvantages with the traditional titration. A traditional titration always need a suitable indicator. Without the indicator, what we call carry our reactions forward, and we measure the endpoint based on the indicator color change, because all the universal indicator, they give one color at one pH and gives another color at another pH. So when there is a change in pH from one acidic medium to basic medium or basic medium to acidic medium, there is a color change. So based on the color change, actually a different medium, we rely on this titrations. And indicators do not necessarily exist for every conceivable analyte or titrant combination. So there is no guarantee that we are having a correct indicator which is compatible to the correct analyte or the correct titrant. We cannot have indicators actually which are every time compatible to the titrant as well as to the analyte. And finally, if the solution contains multiple analytes, we always talk about the simple titration where we go for a single analyte. But if at all The analyte what we take actually in a conical flask is having a mixture of analytes or 2 or 3, then it will be very difficult to go with a traditional titration method. So in those cases, we have to definitely rely on a new technique called as a potentiometric titration. What is a potentiometric titration? It is a technique that can be used to measure the potential across the analyte. So we told very clearly that a solution whose concentration to be determined is called as the analyte. When we keep on dropping a titrant from the burette to the analyte, the potential of the analyte changes. What exactly we are doing is that we are going to measure the potential across the analyte using a set of electrodes. One is the indicator electrode, the other is the reference electrode. And finally, we are going to plot a graph, and from the graph we can find out the equivalence point. And the graph is nothing but the potential against the volume of the titrant added. This potential which keeps on varying, we are going to record using this potentiometer, and variation of cell potential of the analyte is measured with the volume of the titrant added. We are going to get a sigmoidal curve. This is what the experimental setup. So we are going to take the titrant in a burette whose concentration is known, and we are going to take the analyte in a beaker or a conical flask, and this analyte concentration is unknown to us. And how is that we are going to find out the electrode potential of the analyte whenever we are going to add the titrant drop by drop? We should know very clearly that we are not going to use any indicator. Since we are not going to use any indicator, we can find out the endpoint only with the help of the potentiometer, and this potentiometer is a combination of working electrode or a indicator electrode, and with the combination of a reference electrode. Just a working electrode or an indicator electrode cannot give the absolute value. We find out the electrode potential of the analyte while addition of the titrant in combination with a reference electrode. This E cell is recorded at regular intervals as the titrant is added drop by drop. So this is the basis of a potentiometric titration, where we plot a graph between the electrode potential on the y-axis and the volume of the titrant on the x-axis, and the point where there is a big jump in the voltage, this jump we take it as the equivalence point. The equivalence point from the graph is halfway between the jump in the voltage. We can see that whenever there is a jump in the voltage, that point, that volume where we have added the titrant, that particular volume is the equivalence point. And if at all we want to know the exact equivalent point, instead of a regular titration curve, we can also have a first derivation titration curve, where we take on the y-axis delta E by delta V to volume of the titrant on the x-axis. We can also get the exact equivalence point by a second derivative titration curve, where we take delta square E by delta V square by the volume of the titrant on the x-axis. With this, we can say that the potentiometric titration is a similar kind of Redox titration, where the EMF is measured by plotting a titration curve between electrode potential versus volume of the titrant added. Why is that we require the potentiometric titration? What is the need for which we have to compulsory use this potentiometric titration? The first major important point is that we don't have to use an indicator for this potentiometric titration. As compared to any volumetric titration, this potentiometric titration does not require the use of an indicator. And the potentiometric titration provide more reliable data when compared to the conventional indicators. The data is so reliable that we get the exact endpoint from the first order derivative as well as the second order derivative titration curves. This potentiometric titration has more reliable data when compared to the conventional titrations. And whenever we are having colored or turbid solution, it will be very difficult actually to detect the endpoint. This potentiometric titration will overcome this kind of problems. And what is the ideal requirement for a potentiometric titration? As we told very clearly that for a potentiometric titration, we require two electrodes. These two electrodes are the working electrode and the reference electrode. And apart from this, we also required a salt bridge, and this cell representation can be given as a reference electrode connected to a salt bridge, and we have got an analyte solution whose concentration is to be determined, and there is an indicator electrode whose potential varies as the concentration of the analyte solution varies. We should note that the reference electrode potential is fixed. The salt bridge develops a junction potential, and this junction potential is very negligible, and this junction potential can be eliminated in our calculation. We have got a potential from a reference electrode, we have got a potential from a indicator electrode whose potential changes as the concentration of the analyte changes. Basically, the indicator electrode is a glass electrode or a metal ion electrode whose potential varies with the concentration of the analyte, as told clearly. And the reference electrode basically used is a hydrogen electrode or a calomel electrode or a silver chloride electrode. This electrode has a known potential which is represented as ERF that remains constant over a particular temperature, and it is independent on the composition of the analyte solution. We should know very clearly that the potential of the reference electrode does not changes, whereas the potential of the indicator electrode changes as the concentration of the analyte changes over a period of time during addition of the titrant. And finally, we should note that the salt bridge prevents the component of the analyte solution from mixing with the reference electrode. This will develop a junction potential across the junctions of the each end of the salt bridge. And what is the principle of this potentiometric titration? We know that the analyte contains some ions with a known concentration, and as we keep on adding the titrant, the concentration of the ions changes. And since we know that from the Nernst equation that the electrode potential under non-standard conditions can be given by the formula E is equal to E naught minus RT by NF ln QC, where QC is the concentration of the product by concentration of the reactants. We know very well that the concentration of the analyte definitely depends on the electrode potential value. As the concentration of the ion species of interest changes, the EMF of the resultant cell also changes. It is very clear that the concentration of the analyte solution plays a vital role to understand the change in the electrode potential. The indicator electrode along with the reference electrode forms the electrochemical cell. We have got actually two half cells. One half cell is taken by the indicator electrode, the other half cell is taken by the reference electrode. The potential of the cell can be given by the formula E cell is equal to electrode potential of the indicator electrode minus electrode potential of the reference electrode, because we have known from the previous session that EMF of a cell is nothing but E cathode minus E anode, or E right minus E left. Similarly, we can say that for a solution whose concentration has to be determined, the EMF of the cell can be given by the formula E indicator minus E reference electrode. The reference electrode potential does not vary, it is fixed, whereas the electrode potential of the indicator electrode or the working electrode keeps varying as the titrant is added drop by drop to the analyte. We should know that the potentiometer is created by reference electrode as well as a indicator electrode. We require a reference electrode with a potential of E ref. We also require an indicator electrode whose potential is E indicator. E cell is indicator electrode minus reference electrode plus EJ. Since we told that the potential of the salt bridge can be neglected, we can get the final formula as E cell is equal to indicator electrode minus a reference electrode. We have got a setup where this is the indicator electrode and we have got another reference electrode. Both are connected and this difference is measured by a potentiometer. We are going to take the analyte in a beaker and here titrant is added drop by drop over a period of time, and this difference of potential actually is recorded by a potentiometer. Finally, we can say that E cell is equal to E indicator electrode minus reference electrode, and we should also note that the potential of the indicator electrode under non-standard conditions can be given with the formula potential of indicator electrode at standard condition minus 2.303 RT by NF log product by reactance. This equation is popularly known as Nernst equation, which we have undertaken in the previous class. That's all from my side. Okay, if at all you have got any doubts or any clarification from this video lesson, you can just please contact me, or you can WhatsApp to my number.